Hey there, today I had a very interesting session with Steve from a company called Quadrant. I'll pop a link in the description below. They're an Australian company, and I first met Steve at an event that I did in Sydney earlier this year. We got talking about the 4 Qs, and Steve approached me and said, let's have a chat and talk about how we might work. So today it was interesting, Steve. You talked about a couple of customer profiles too, in fact, one being enterprise, another being intermediaries. Intermediaries defined as small business owners running audiovisual companies who have a book of existing customers. I got thinking about that, and I have some thoughts that I'd like to share with you. And I thought, what better way to do that than to cast a little video, and we can, it can almost feel like I'm there, right? Look, you cast your mind back to the event that we did together in Sydney. Do you remember when I was talking about Quadrant 2? One of the pitfalls of Quadrant 2, the product, is just how long it takes to make a change, right? So in serving a new profile like intermediaries, because the enterprise you're already serving today, intermediaries would be a new one. We have to calculate the cost of all the time that is required to build out Quadrant 2. And the second thing is that when I've done gigs before where we move from having software, which is just purely like, Quadrant 2, to being software as a service, there's suddenly a whole bunch of other things that we didn't consider, like we need online payment, we need billing, we need onboarding, right? So there's all this infrastructure that wasn't calculated as part of the original build, all of which has to get done. Now on the flip side, if you look at your enterprise customer, you've already built out your Quadrant 2, right? The product is serving a customer today, it's working, bar a coat of paint, it's ready to be rolled out. Your enterprise customer doesn't need a lot of infrastructure, as you put it, right? As long as the product live streams on race day, they don't mind, because you're not trying to build a self-service for them, because they're not interested in this. If there's an experience that they don't want that. Prioritize enterprise as the customer you serve today, okay? And think about the intermediary as the customer you're going to serve tomorrow. And if you agree with that synopsis, then here are loosely a quick plan that we can devise as to how to move towards that goal. Let's start with Quadrant 1. Let's revisit the profile enterprise, because it's a big space enterprise. There's a lot in there already, and let's kind of thin slice that segment and work out what the variants are, and then decide, okay, which are the variants that we really do wish to serve. Let's take that intelligence that we've gathered during that process and feed that back to the acquisition agency you've hired, so that they have a very clear picture of the people that we want drawn into our sales system, so that our conversion rates are going to be really high. We don't want, with enterprise, you've got to spend so much time on the profile, because as you said, right, the sales cycle is like 6 months. And if we get the wrong person, they can be bouncing around inside our sales system for months before we eject them. Then let's jump into Quadrant 4. In my experience, we need 20, upwards of 30 customer interactions to support an enterprise experience. We need to map them against the early, middle, and the end game, right? We need to augment our workforce to make sure that we have the best people working on the highest value tasks. Then let's jump on to Quadrant 3. We need a really good corporate identity. We've got 20 or 30 interactions. They have to be flawless. Enterprise will not put up with interactions which are shoddy. So we have to wrap all of these interactions very carefully. And while we're in Quadrant 3, let's go and spend a bit of time investigating shared beliefs. On the call, you were talking about how they're quite frightened, enterprise, of live stream failing on race day. Okay, so is there somewhere in that area that we can build common ground with them? And then that flows into our words and pictures later. So Steve, if you like what you're hearing, let's do a workshop together. We can do that on the internet. You're familiar with live streaming, or we can do it in person. Look, if you're new to my channel, this is one of your first videos you're watching and you'd like to learn more about the 4 Qs, I'll give you a link below in the description. Visit runfrictionless.com and you can get yourself a copy of the book, and then you can use the 4 Qs and apply that to your business.